Welcome to another new video. Today we will all read chapter 1 in this video. What is political theory and what is its relevance? We will learn about this video in English. So let's get started. Now we will understand about its introduction. The word theory refers to a body of logically collected and analyzed body of knowledge. And politics, as we know, is about many things including relationships among individuals and groups and classes and the state, and state institutions like the judiciary, bureaucracy, etc. So one definition of political theory given by David Weld sees political theory as a network of concepts and generalizations about political life involving ideas, assumptions and statements about the nature, purpose and key features of government, state and society, and about the political capabilities of human beings. Andrew Hacker defines it as a combination of a disinterested search for the principles of good state and good society on the one hand, and a disinterested search for knowledge of political and social reality on the other. Now we will talk about what is political theory. A comprehensive definition has been given by Gould and Kolb, who defined political theory as a subfield of political science, which includes I. Political philosophy, a moral theory of politics and a historical study of political ideas. 2. A scientific criterion. 3. A linguistic analysis of political ideas. 4. The discovery and systematic development of generalizations about political behavior. We can conclude that political theory is concerned basically with the study of the phenomenon of the state both in philosophy as well as empirical terms. An attempt is made to provide explanations, descriptions and prescriptions regarding the state and political institutions. Also, of course, there is an underlying theme of studying the moral philosophical purpose. The thinker Weinstein had put it very succinctly when he had suggested that political theory is basically an activity which involves posing questions, developing responses to those questions, and creating imaginative perspectives on the public life of human beings. The questions that are asked are like, what is the nature and purpose of the state? And why should we prefer one form of state over another? How do we judge the ends, aims and methods of political organization? What is and should be the relationship between the state and the individual? Throughout history, political theory has been answering these questions. It has been regarded as important because the fate of man is dependent on the kind of system of rulers and the ruled that is achieved, and whether it leads to united action for the common good. Let's talk about political theory and political thought. Political theory is sometimes synonymously regarded with political thought, but it is important to understand they don't necessarily mean the same thing. Political thought is a generalized term which comprises all thoughts, theories and values of a person or a group of persons or a community on state and questions related to the state. Any person expressing his views, whether he is a professor, journalist, writer, novelist, poet, etc., and of course if he is a politician that has a bearing on our lives, and that is about his state and governance and related questions, then he is engaging in political thought. His thoughts may or may not comprise a theory if it is not a systematic logical hypothesis advanced to explain historical and political phenomenon related to political rule of the state and governance, etc. Political thought thus is always of persons or groups, while political theory is a self-contained and self-standing explanation or speculation or theory, attempting to answer questions and explain history and predict likely events in the future. Of course, this theory is always some individual thinker's creation. Barker had commented that while political thought is the immanent philosophy of a whole age, political theory is the speculation of a particular thinker. Now we will understand about political theory and political science. Political science is a comprehensive subject or field of study of which political theory is only a subfield. Political science includes everything: political thought, political theory, political philosophy, political ideology, institutional or structural framework, comparative politics, public administration, international law and organization, etc. Some thinkers have stressed on the science aspect of political science, and they suggest when political science is studied as a science with scientific methods, political theory, to the extent it is a part of political philosophy, cannot be regarded as political science, because whereas there is no room for abstract intuitive conclusions or speculations in political science, political philosophy relies on exactly those unexact methods. Political theory is neither pure thought, nor pure philosophy, nor pure science. Let's know about some basic characteristic of political theory. 1. A political theory is generally the creation on individual thinker based on his moral and intellectual position, and when propounding his theory he is looking explain the events, phenomenon, and the mysteries generally of mankind's political life. The theory may or may not be accepted as true, but it always can be regarded as one more theory. Generally, we find the political theory of an individual thinker is put forward in a classic work by the thinker like Plato did in his Republic, or Rawle in a Theory of Justice. Though a political theory attempts to provide explanations on questions relating to mankind, the societies he formed, and history and historical events generally. It also suggests ways of resolving conflicts and sometimes even advocates revolutions. There are also often predictions made about the future. 13. Political theory thus is also sometimes not only providing explanations and predictions, but also sometimes actively influencing and participating in historical events, particularly when they propose political action of a particular kind, and that line of action is widely adopted. The great positive liberal thinker Harold Lusky had commented that the task of political theorists is not merely of description, but also of prescription on what ought to be. 4. Political theory is also usually discipline-based, and thought he subject of study remains the same. The theorist might be a philosopher, historian, economist, theologian, or a sociologist, etc. 5. Political theories are often also the basis for a whole ideology. The liberal theories became the basis for liberalism, and Marx's theory became the basis for Marxian socialist ideology. A political theorist proposed by a thinker is usually always reflecting the political ideology of the thinker too. That is also the reason why, when there are conflicts between ideologies, it leads to debates about the theories underlying those ideologies. Let's talk about relevance of political theory. We humans as social beings live together and societies where we share the resources, jobs and rewards. We are also individuals needing some basic human rights. The process of organizing state and society therefore becomes important to maximize harmony and prosperity, and to allow the circumstances for individual self-realization. So to facilitate the unity and integrity of human societies, or the collective needs of society, political theory becomes important. It tries to study and find solutions to problems in this process. The relevance lies in evolving various approaches regarding the nature and purpose of the state, the basis of political authority, and the best form of government to practice relations between the state and the individual in the context of his basic rights. Apart from this, political theory also seeks to establish the moral criterion for judging the ethical worth of a political state, and to suggest alternative political arrangements and practices. To sum up in brief, the relevance of political theory lies in the following. In providing an explanation and description of political phenomenon. B. Helping select the political goals and actions for a community, and C. Helps in providing the basis for making moral judgments. Also, it has to be remembered increasingly, at least in contemporary times, states face challenges of poverty, corruption, overpopulation, and ethnic and racial tensions, environment pollution, etc. This is not to mention international problems like conflicts, etc. Political theory seeks to study the present and future problems of political life of the society and to suggest solutions for dealing with those problems. David Held has commented that the task of the political theorist is very great in its complexity, because in the absence of systematic study, there is a danger that politics will be left to the ignorant and self-seeking people who are in pursuit of power. Now let's talk about our new topic, the important schools of political theory. The most important schools of political thought that have lasted in importance and have stood the test of time, so to say, are as follows. 1. Classical political theory. 2. Liberal political theory. 3. Marxist political theory. 4. Empirical scientific political theory. 5. Contemporary political theory. Classical political theory. The political theories that emerged starting from the 6th century BC and evolved through the Greeks, Romans, and early European Christian thinkers and philosophers is referred to as classical political theories. Among the Greeks, Plato and Aristotle are the two thinkers who are studied and who have great influence till today. Classical political theory was deeply dominated by philosophy, and the whole focus was on taking a holistic gaze, searching for the most general of truths. So, there was no clear distinction between philosophical, theological and political issues, and political science, or thought was not separately recognized as a discipline as such. Political theory was concerned with probing into issues, asking important questions, and serving as a sort of conscience keeper of politics. The underlying quest was to arrive at the best possible form of government. The state and government were also viewed as a tool for realizing the moral goals of man and society, and for promoting the good. Thus, the state was to serve as some sort of promoter to foster high moral standards among the members of the community. Liberal political theory. With the historical period referred to as Renaissance and Reformation in Europe, which was followed by the Industrial Revolution, the dominance of the classical tradition came to an end. This new philosophical wave was led by thinkers like Hobbes, Locke, Thomas Jefferson, Thomas Paine, Jeremy Bentham, J.S. Mill, Herbert Spencer, and a host of other writers. The main thrust of the liberal tradition was the individual's rights, and the state was merely regarded as a contract between individuals to benefit from the conflict resolution mechanism that a system of rule of law provides. The main aim of the state in the liberal tradition is to help individuals realize their fundamental inalienable rights. Marxist political theory. The fundamental changes that Industrial Revolution brought about caused inequality, and a large class of impoverished industrial workers emerged. The basic liberal position that supported total economic freedom was challenged by Karl Marx and Engels and their followers, who in the later half of the 19th century proposed what they called scientific socialism. Socialism predated the theory of Marx, but he gave it a strong theoretical foundation. Marx offered a new way of looking at the history up to that time, and suggested that the task of knowledge is not just to understand the world, but also to change the social life of mankind for the better. For that he suggested a revolutionary path. He suggested that to win the basics of life for their emancipation, the working class has to take over the means of production, and the means of production should be controlled by the state. Empirical scientific political theory. In America, a new kind of political theory was developed, particularly in the post-Second World War period, that suggested relying on the scientific method instead of philosophical and based theories upon facts rather than on values. Political scientists at the Chicago University, known as the Chicago School, such as Charles Merriam, Harold Lasswell, Gosnell, David Easton, Stuart Rice, etc., focused on studying politics in the context of behavior of individual human beings as members of a political community. The task of political theory, according to this new school of thought, is to formulate and systematize the concept of science of political behavior, in which emphasis is placed on empirical research than on political philosophy. The behavioral scientists suggested a political theorist should clarify and criticize systems of concepts which have empirical relevance to political behavior. Contemporary political theory. Since the 1970 the sole focus of the empiricists and behavioral scholars on science, value-free politics and methods came under criticism and lost popularity because it failed to address pressing political and social issues. So there has been a revival of interest in political theory in United States of America, Europe and other parts of the world. Thinkers like John Rawls, Robert Nozick, Habermas etc. made noteworthy contributions and took up basic issues like liberty, equality, justice etc. again. Theory again regained the status of a legitimate form of knowledge and inquiry. Also, on the question of what exactly is science, there emerged many views that challenged the old notions. Further, many scholars opined that social sciences throw up distinctive problems that cannot be grasped by scientific models. Now we will understand why study history of political thought. As has been mentioned above, political thought concerns the state and its policies and decisions and activities. The various terms political science, political theory, political thought and political philosophy have not been used consistently in the same sense by scholars at all times. They have even been used as synonyms popularly. Political thought is the most general term of all these, which can be easily used to refer to the whole discipline easily. And if we do that, then political science and political philosophy become specific subcategories. Also, political thought also accommodates ethics and moral philosophy, theology, role of politics in human development, and the dignity of political activity. On the question which is the best way of studying political thought, Gauld and Thursby have opined that there are two ways to study political thought. The first is to list all the political thought considered to be classic, such as Plato's Republic, Aristotle's Politics, Machiavelli's Prince, Hobbes' Leviathan, Locke's two treatises on government, Hegel's Philosophy of Rights, Marx' The Communist Manifesto, Rawls' A Theory of Justice, and to make a note of the constant questions and approaches in them like, what is the meaning of freedom and equality? Why men should obey the government at all? What are the ideals and goals of a state, and what is the meaning of democracy? Etc. The problem in this method, one can't not easily decide what should be classified as a classic. The study of any social science is impossible without an understanding of the historical evolution of the subject. The political institutions and systems of political behavior which we observe today are a result of evolution of centuries. A political theorist needs to study history to understand this evolution. He does not need to study the dates and colorful historical details of kings and princes and the battles they fought and the lives they led, but rather the growth and changes in the economic structures, in technological capabilities, and the impact that had and in political institutions and ways of governing. Social classes, political power, and economic processes do not emerge overnight and cannot be understood by examining them in isolation in their contemporary settings. One needs to study the history of political thought to understand the evolving relationships between man, society, and political authority, and indeed the popular perceptions of those relationships through history. The study of the views and theories of past political thinkers enables one to go beyond the dominant contemporary political orthodoxies and draw intellectual resources from the past. A reflection on the thoughts of past thinkers provides a guideline to actual theorizing. Political theories thus emerge not from nowhere, but is constructed by building, expanding and developing the vocabularies of the past authors' texts. This also enables easy comparison and judgment between past and contemporary works.